Hello, good to see you guys on tonight. I'm going to be talking about croup, or more specifically, the 3 remedies that I used to help Orly as he woke up on Sunday morning with croup. And I thought, far out, like if I just posted and shared all the things that I have seen homeopathy do since I started using it, I could have helped a lot more people. So I thought every now and again what I would do is just share my favourite remedies and what I use them for in the home and in my family. And so on that note, what I first want to let you guys know is that I am not a homeopath. Okay, want to be homeopath maybe, but certainly not a homeopath. However, I do work very closely with a homeopath. Her name is Leanne. She's one of the best, if not the best in the country. And I work with her very closely and see her about once a month for our family, for either myself, my husband, or my son. And it's completely changed the way that we deal with illnesses in our family, more specifically with Orly, because he's 4 now, and as he has grown up and picked up little bugs here and there, homeopathy has just been a saving grace in our family. So, thirdly, you can ask whatever you like, but if it is out of my depth, I'm going to let you know and I'm going to refer you to my homeopath. And lastly, I don't make anything or any profits from homeopathy, so you don't have to worry about that. However, I do love it and am extremely passionate about it, and I help a lot of people with it. And so I really just hope that this is of value to you. And if so, please share. Because I'm pretty confident that mums everywhere will want to help their kids or help themselves or other members of the family with natural remedies. So, that being said, I've tried quite a few things, herbs which have their place, and vitamins which have their place, nutrition, which of course I love, but homeopathy has got to be the coolest form of natural medicine I have ever seen. And when I woke up on Sunday morning and heard that barky, croupy cough come out of Orly's mouth, I was just like reaching straight for my remedy kit, and the confidence that I have about what I needed to get the job done was something that I hope to share with you guys. Now, the first remedy that I want to tell you about is the very first one that you want to reach for, and it's called Aconite. Now, interestingly, and I googled this beforehand, Aconite is made from the monkshood plant, interestingly enough. So all homeopathic remedies are prepared from natural substances, and it is only effective if you use this remedy at the first onset of that barky cough, and within the first 24 hours. 48 hours, yes, but I've found it to be the most effective in the first 24 hours. So it's a remedy that you want to already have on hand. If you try and use it later than that, then it just becomes less and less effective. So as soon as I heard that bark, that croupy cough, I reached straight for the Aconite, gave him a dose of it, and then basically I need to watch and listen for what that cough sounds like next. Now, I remember the first time Leanne asked me, what does his cough sound like? And I was like, really? I mean, first time, Mum, a cough's a cough. Like, what's the difference between a cough? But that barky cough, she said to me, once it starts to change its sound, you'll hear it shift into like a mucusy, rattly, wet kind of a cough, which I listened for. And after just a couple of doses of that Aconite, that cough, sure enough, shifted from that barky, croupy sound to a wet, rattly, mucusy cough. And I'd given Orly those 2 doses of Aconite within about 30 minutes of each other, and we were about at, I don't know, maybe 11, 12 o'clock, about say midday. And so when that barky sound shifted, it meant that we needed to move to the next remedy. Now, this remedy is used for so many things in our house, but it is the second of this trio of remedies that is the most effective with croup. So the second remedy is called hepasulf. Now, hepasulf is made from, let's see, I did Google this. Oh, yep, this is interestingly enough, it's made from the heating of the sulfur flour and the lime from oyster shells together. And so when those two are combined and prepared into homeopathic remedy, it's called hepasulf. And so as that sound of the cough shifted into a chesty, rattly, wet, almost wheezy cough, and especially if your kids are prone to asthma, then Hepasulf was the very next remedy that I gave him. Now, I'm going to listen to that cough, and if it starts to slip back, then I'm going to give him another dose of the Aconite. If we're in that first 24 hours, right, if it starts to slip back to the bark, then I'm going to give him a dose of the Aconite. But if he stays to the wet, rattly, mucusy cough, then we're going to stay there. And I just listened to that, and it took about another 2 hours before I heard the cough again, so I gave him another. And it's kind of just like that. I'm listening for the cough, listening to whether it changes, and as long as it stays wet, rattly, and mucusy, I know that the mucus is now sitting on the chest and it needs to start working its way up so the body can detoxify it. Now you might ask, how does the body detoxify croup? Well, you know, the mucus and all that crap that's sitting on the chest, it's got to come out, and the body's going to look for its most nearest exit passage, which is going to be through the mouth or through your nostrils. And so Leanne told me that I needed to look for green snot to start coming out of the nose, and for it to start to sound like it was shifting from in the chest into the throat. And so the cough would sound eventually a little drier, less rattly, and then mucus coming out the nose. So as I listened over the next couple of days, so Sunday, by the end of the day, we were still sitting on a wet cough. Monday, we were still sitting on a wet cough, so we stayed at Hepasulf. And then today was the first day that it started to sound like it was drying up. And so we shifted onto a remedy called Spongia. Now Spongia toaster is the third remedy of this trio that we want to use for croup. So as the mucus had started to come out and it shifted to the dry, that's when we want to switch to Spongia to just kind of finish off the job. Now, Spongia. What is Spongia made of? Oh, it is the lightly roasted skeleton of the marine sponge. Isn't that cool? How there's so much in nature that can be used to help support the body to fix itself. Now, you might be thinking, well, doesn't the body just do this anyway without the remedies? And it totally does. But Orly started with croup on Sunday, and he'll be back to kindy tomorrow. Now, he could have actually gone today, but I decided to keep him home just in case it was too soon. And usually, before I started using remedies for things like this, the healing time just is so much longer. So as a working mum, I could be at home for, way too many days off work. Fortunately, it was over the weekend. I could be home for way too many days off work. I could also be dealing with a really sickly and irritable child who's maybe feverish or blocked up and stuffy in the nose, can't breathe properly, is not sleeping very well, and that all those kinds of symptoms are totally normal, but they're just so much more inflammatory or difficult for a child to deal with, let alone a parent getting any sleep while they're going through that. Whereas what I have noticed with using homeopathic remedies is that Orly has always been really well within himself. And yes, he's sick, but he doesn't suffer through the symptoms, and therefore I'm not suffering through his symptoms and am reasonably well slept. So those are the three remedies that I use, and they are the three remedies that Leanne recommends specifically for croup. Now, just as a disclaimer, there's no guarantee that this is going to work 100% of the time, as sometimes you might need a remedy that is more specific to you or to your kid. But I would say that most of the time, maybe 80% of the time, this trio of remedies is going to do the trick. And so just to recap that, it's Aconite if you catch it within the first 24 to 48 hours. And then we move on to Hepasulf as that barky cough turns into a wet, chesty, rattly cough. And then we're going to listen for the mucus to start moving up higher into the throat. We want to look for green snot and boogers to be coming out, because that's the body pushing the bacteria out. And then as it starts to dry off, we want to use Spongia to finish off the job. So guys, that is really Orly's 3-day drama with croup, which really is no drama at all. And the more that I have become familiar with the different sounds of the cough and have used this trio for these symptoms, he's just been less and less sick with this and has gotten better and better with dealing with it. So guys, those are the 3 remedies I recommend. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I'd be happy to do my best to answer them. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not a homeopath. I want to be a homeopath, but I do work very closely with my homeopath Leanne, who I see every month, if not multiple times a month, and I'm happy to point you in her direction and answer your questions to the best of my ability. So on that note, have a happy evening, and I will see you on the next video.